Hello! We are excited to announce that Codestack.net is now even closer to the community, as we have completely open sourced the code examples and articles. It is now available on GitHub as a public project. We are looking for contributors to grow and refine the Codestack library and appreciate any contributions. In this video, I will demonstrate how you can contribute to Codestack. In this article, I have spotted a small typo. The rectangle word is spelled incorrectly. So I can go ahead and click on Edit Article link, which is going to bring me to GitHub. If you don't have GitHub account, you can create one. It is free and the process is quite straightforward. Now we can click Edit button to directly edit this article. I can now find the position of my text and simply correct the mistake. Finally, I need to add a short summary of a change and click Propose Changes button to submit my proposal. GitHub will prepare a pull request for me, so I can inspect the proposed changes and click Create Pull Request button. I can use the same name for my pull request as my commit. Once submitted, Codestack administrators will review this request and merge this into the site. This might take a couple of business days. It is also possible to change the code included in the article. So let's say in this case I want to modify the content of this macro. I need to click Edit Code Snippet, which is going to bring me to GitHub as well. Instead of modifying the code directly in the editor, I want to debug it first, so I will copy that code and paste into a new macro in SolidWorks. I will add a couple of changes to this macro. At first I'm going to change the message box to use a standard SolidWorks message box instead of generic one. I will also add a routine to handle exceptions and display the corresponding error message box to the user. Now let me quickly run this macro to make sure that it still works. Next, I will copy the code from an updated macro and submit this to GitHub. I will follow a similar routine as I did with the previous article. I will paste the code, add message, and click Propose Changes button. Finally, I will review the changes to make sure that I'm submitting the correct code and click Create Pull Request. In some cases, you might want to share your macro with the community. So in this case, I want to add new macro into the geometry section. I have a simple macro which demonstrates how to fill the hole with a temporary body. So let's go ahead and add it to Codestack library. Although you can embed the code directly into the article, it is recommended to keep it in a separate file. So in this case, I'm going to create macro VBA file and paste all my code in there. To make the article more readable, I'm just going to bring an image in there. Article itself needs to be written in index.md file. I prefer to use Visual Studio Code to edit this file, but you can use any text editor. Let me now explain to you the structure of an article. This section contains attributes of an article. Title explains what the article is about. Caption is a short title and it is used to display this article in the table of context in Codestack website. Description is a detailed summary of an article. Image is an optional attribute, but in this case I do have an image, so I'm just going to use it. Labels is an optional attribute, but you can specify some keywords of this article as well. Content of the article is using Markdown. Codestack website compiled using Docify static site generator. You can follow this link and explore what syntax you can use to write an article. If you have previously modified the articles on Codestack, Codestack repository will be forked in your GitHub account. So we can simply open that repository to upload our new files. URL structure on Codestack.net follows the folder structure in the repository. So if I want to add an article to the geometry section, I need to open SolidWorks API geometry folder and upload new files there. Now I will click Upload Files link and drag and drop my folder in there. This process would take a few seconds, and once completed, I simply need to put a message and click Commit Changes. Note, in this case, the changes committed to your forked repository. And in order to push them into the main repository, I need to create a pull request. GitHub will show me the changes, so I can quickly review those and click Create Pull Request. Once done, I click Create Pull Request button to submit this request. Let's add one more macro. So here I want to add new macro which allows to export information about dimensions to external CSV file. So the information such as name, location, grid reference, tolerance, value, etc. is exported to CSV file which can be opened in Excel. There are two categories of VBA macros hosted on Codestack. First ones are educational macros, and those just demonstrate some APIs and generally they're not useful on themselves. For example, macro I published previously would be considered as educational macro. And the second category is the utility macros. Those can also be used to learn how Solver's API works, but their main purpose is in automation. And those can be used by anyone even if they do not have Solver's API skills. Such macros included into Solver's tools page on Codestack website. And I think export dimensions macro is a good candidate to be included in Solver's tools section on Codestack website. And I'm just going to show you another way of how you can publish the articles to the Codestack website. In this case, I'm going to use local client, so I will be able to pull all of the files from the repository to my local folder and work from there. If I haven't already done that, at first thing I need to navigate to github.com/xerial, Codestack, and click fork. And this is going to make a copy of that repository to my account, so I can work with that as I want to. So firstly, I want to download everything into my local folder. So I'm just going to copy the URL of my repository, create new folder here, and just use any of Git client. In this case I'm using Git extension, but you can use any other client. Select repository to clone and click clone button. Once completed, I'm going to have all of the files from the repository cloned into my local folder, so I can start working with those. I'm going to add this macro to document and drawing section, so I'm just going to open that folder. Now let me copy the macro from SolidWorks, create new subfolder here, I will call it export dimensions, which is going to be a name of my article, create new file, call it macro.vba, and paste that code over there. In this case I'm just going to use Notepad, but you might want to use Visual Studio Code or some other editor. I'm also going to bring few images here, and also I'm bringing one SVG image, which is going to be an icon of my article. I prefer to use vector graphics for that. Next, I will create index.md file which is going to contain my article. I just quickly open it in Notepad and fill my article. As I'm going to publish that article at SolidWorks tool, there are two additional attributes I need to specify. Layout attribute needs to be set to SWTool, which will instruct Codestack to publish that macro as a tool. Group attribute indicates the section this macro belongs to. In our case, it is a drawing. Now I can use my Git client to push those changes into the repository. I can quickly review the files I'm about to push, write commit message and click commit and push. Now the changes has been uploaded to the repository, so I need to create pull request to upload those to Codestack website. I will follow similar routine. I will click pull request button, create pull request, I can review my changes, write message and click create pull request. After administrator has reviewed the pull request, they're going to be merged into the site so we can validate the result. So in this case you can see that our typo has been fixed. Our macro has been updated here as well. Geometry section contains new fill hole macro as well, so let me refresh the page and open that macro. And finally, macro library contains new macro in the drawing section. Thank you for watching this video.